This is the US dollar index in the year 2015. And this is the US dollar index in the current day. Once again, here's 2015. And once again, this is the current day in 2022. So the setup between these two areas seems to be extremely similar, coming off of a major parabolic run, our first major break, our first clear breakdown of the parabolic trend. So the DXY has now, for the first time since 2021, actually broken the parabola with certainty. And this is our first sign yet that the US dollar index is losing its momentum. And the loss of momentum has been the absolute key indicator. We've talked about this on this channel before, but this is by far one of the most important indicators of all of them. And we're going to be diving into this today to discuss what we need to look out for to spot if Bitcoin is truly bottoming or not. Let's dive right in. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Svenson, and today, instead of talking about what everyone else is talking about, all of the, crazy news, the FTX collapse, and all these exchanges, potentially going bust, whatever, let's talk about the key indicator. One of the most important indicators by far in crypto history has been the US dollar index. And this is the chart in 2015. And what we saw in 2015 after the US dollar index made its first major parabolic breakdown. So even though the US dollar index still saw higher highs on the chart, once we got the confirmed breakdown of this trend, looking at Bitcoin here on the bottom, this is when Bitcoin actually began to form its bottom and started, instead of just going straight down, Bitcoin began going sideways, with the US dollar index also going sideways. And the key thing here was the loss of momentum in the US dollar index, which then allowed Bitcoin to form its bottom and then caused a major bull run to ensue thereafter. All right, now we're looking at the US dollar index today. Current day 2022 in our current setup. We have a clear parabolic trajectory and we have our first confirmed breakdown below that parabolic trend line. All right, well, the future is still to be written, right? It hasn't happened yet, but bring up Bitcoin once again. What do we see? Same exact setup. US dollar index is going to the moon. Bitcoin is crashing. Now we had our first major breakdown for the US dollar index. It's more than likely that the US dollar index is probably going to be losing momentum and going sideways. Why do I say that? I'm not saying that we've hit the bottom for sure. I'm saying that we're probably getting closer and closer as time goes on. Of course, there's all these unpredictable, crazy events in crypto right now that could cause the price to go even lower. But just from the charting perspective, just from looking at history, it seems possible that Bitcoin could be near an area where it would start to go sideways instead of straight down. Because if we're looking at what the Fed has said recently, they are considering switching from 75 basis points to 50 basis points. The Fed is actually now considering a soft pivot from 75 to 50, which means we're still going to have rate hikes. It's not going to be a U-turn where the Fed lowers rates. They're going to continue to raise rates, but at a slower pace. And likely we're going to be sustaining these higher interest levels for quite some time. And that kind of tells me that there is a possibility now that as the Fed does a soft pivot and maybe sort of just sustains rates, the US dollar index has a chance to go generally sideways. And if we do lose that momentum, this could be the point in which, whether we go lower or not, this could be the point in which Bitcoin sort of begins to form some sort of low point and go sideways. Going back in time, once again, here's the chart. Check it out. This is pretty much what we're looking for right now. Now, me talking about charts right now is a little bit contradictory to what I said on Twitter today. I said technical analysis kind of means nothing at this moment in time. Total disruption, chaos, unpredictable events. TA is a waste of time at the moment. Someone had to say it. And it's kind of true. I mean, at least for the short term, if you're looking at the Bitcoin chart and you're trying to predict, is this the bottom? Are we going to go lower? Are we going to bounce up? I mean, it's all just wishy-washy, unpredictable chaos right now. So TA, at least in the short term, really useless. But in my opinion, you're looking at the macro and the behavior of the US dollar index, it does kind of point to the idea that we could be getting near that low point. And once the US dollar index loses momentum, that's when the Bitcoin bottom begins to form. But it usually means we have at least a year of sideways action, guys. A year of sideways, at least. So even if it does, you know, the US dollar index loses that momentum, starts going sideways, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin just goes to the moon. It means that we kind of, you know, go along with that sideways action where, you know, US dollar index is going up, loses momentum, and eventually comes down. Bitcoin, you know, goes down, starts going sideways, and eventually comes up. Essentially, that's what we're looking for here. So I still think that if you go to the long-term chart for Bitcoin, the BLX, and you pull up your downward sloping resistance line, this downward sloping resistance line actually suggests that we have until about April of next year. So, you know, Bitcoin can come down more, possibly rally up, and then end up going sideways for a year. And then, you know, sometime next year, mid next year, is when we might get our actual momentum shift. So a lot of time on our hands to accumulate, a lot of time for all of this crypto chaos to play out. Maybe we see lower prices, maybe more exchanges, companies go bust, and we get lower levels. I'm not saying we can't get lower levels. We certainly can. We know that now. You know, recently in the crypto industry, we kind of pulled the curtain to see the man behind it running it, and it doesn't look so good, right? So this industry has a lot of recovering to do and explaining to do. So I do not think we're going to recover instantly. Again, I think sideways for most of next year. For most of the next year, maybe 6 months or so. And we just got to give time for the US dollar index to give us that true momentum signal shift, right? But the US dollar index has showed us here that it has lost momentum. It's likely due to this Fed news. At least this is part of it, that the Fed might be looking to do a soft pivot. Unfortunate timing for the crypto industry that we're seeing all these problems right as the US dollar index begins to tumble. Such terrible timing. But either way, there may be more bad events coming for crypto. We may see lower prices, but the US dollar index signal is giving me a little bit more confidence that in the next few months we can start to go sideways instead of straight down. So, you know, this is not a bottom call video. I don't know where the bottom's going to come in. I'm just saying that historically, this is the signal we get when we start going sideways. So we'll see when it actually begins. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Smash like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.